clearly I could use a few lessons from Warren. Oh, Warren, where to begin? I met Warren back in the days of a guitar shop here in the HRM called McCabe's. And I joked that when we met, we both had a full head of hair. Warren is a nurturing flame for anybody who's trying to do music. He's a master of his craft. In these clips that I took from this clinic, I left out a lot of the stories and jokes and just tried to give you some techniques that would be valuable to you, and of course some of Warren's playing, which is off the charts. There are so many people far and wide that respect Warren as just a master guitar player and composer and arranger, and he's played behind so many people. I wouldn't know where to begin. Tell me in the comments, which of the projects that Warren was in did you like the most? Without further ado, here's Warren.
It was also kind of funny to think about them being nowadays, I guess, advertised as compact pedals, you know?
Yeah.
Before that, it was like you had to have like a giant rock.
Sick player. He has an exercise, and this is an exercise, this is not the way to play, this is a drill, only a drill. But what he does is he takes the pick and he picks the note, and as soon as it gets to the other side, he stops it backwards against the string. So when you get up, you stop on the top, down, you stop on the bottom. And you just sit there and practice that where you stop it. It doesn't sound like a great tone for playing, nor would you think about that when you're playing. But as you're sitting down watching a television show or something mindless with the guitar off, going riding the contour of your string, you're gonna feel after a while the roundness of the string. When you move to the next string, feels like it's a mile away, but that's cool. You get some kind of perspective and tuning into the string. And what'll happen is after a while, when you're doing tremolo, it's like you're pushing a button. You're not going reefing on the string. After a while, you just get relaxed at it. You put the pick on the string. I'm starting on the string. I'm not trying to target from away and go, I'm gonna hit you here. I start right on the string. And you get some and when you're doing alternate picking, it's what you'll see when I'm going on a couple of examples here. It goes pretty relaxed when you're doing that. So that's something that's set up through doing this exercise. I'm not aware of it when I'm playing. I just sit down enough and just do it over and over until it just when I play, I just play it, right? The other exercise was that I think is huge was given to me by Scott McMillan, local brilliant man, and this was at a guitar summit in Quebec, and he had a great exercise where you're doing a down on the 6th string, up on the 5th, and now you're going to proceed to kind of do this back and forth. So you got down. So I go down on the 6, up on the 5, down on the 6, up on the 4, down on the 6, up on the 3, So you do this back and forth, and you work it in and out. You can do it on a chord. Just relax and get too used to the feel like that. It's a really great picking exercise, simple to do. Anybody know the difference between outside and inside picking? If I have this, say I have 6 notes here. I have a 4, 5, 7, or so I'll go with 4 notes. 4, 5, 7, and 4. So I have F sharp, G, A, B. If I start on a downstroke, I go down, up, down. I skip over the string up to maintain an alternate. Down, up, 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 down, up. That's outside picking because I'm starting and I'm doing my journey on the outsides of the string. If I start on an upstroke, then I'm doing inside picking because I go up, da, 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 da. And I'm not going but rather like a convex thing, but rather concave sort of motion inside. And that's how you get off. Those type of things back and forth with a lot of speed. If you want shredding up 3-note per string scales, just because of the nature of 3 notes per string and having to skip, a lot of times if you start on an upstroke instead of a downstroke, you can get some pretty nice speed. To your knee, back to the chord, to your knee, back to the chord. That little reset there is interesting, but what happens is it's a different function than if you're going from here to here. When I'm a student and I'm trying to play from here, say, to there, I'm thinking, okay, now the notes and the fingers all go and they move around, they're squeezing on the ways, and there's nothing, it's painful. But in this case, what happens when you're down here, after doing that for, even just a few times, really, about 5 minutes or something, you'll find that by the time you're about halfway here, your hand is in shape in anticipation of where it needs to land. It needs to land, so you're boom. And it'll end up being so mechanical that it really doesn't matter where you come from. No matter what, when I slide into a chord, it's prepared just before it hits the chord rather than trying to place the fingers. You're loose, 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 tight, loose, loose, loose. You want to try and be loose. So when I'm practicing chords, I'm always doing a pulsing exercise. I put on it and I pulse when I need it. And that's the same as actually working on muscles, because none of us are going to go to the gym and hold a weight over our head for a half hour and go, oh, that was awesome. Yeah, we worked out. We got to do something, right? So by doing this, you're building that in. And because of the way music sort of generally works, if you do it in along with some kind of beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, then that's a recovery time that happens. You know, pulsing, 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 pulsing there. On the weak beats, where you're more likely to going to be changing and hopping off to your next chord, you'll be already programming in the repose. You'll be programming in the relaxation into the muscle memory. But one of the things you can do to make legato fun to practice is, like for example, let's take a 3-note per string, G major, but I'll just worry about the G string. So I've got a G major scale on that string, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now, that could get pretty noisy, but I want to play some legato. do this thing. I got this weird sheathing thing that I take my pick and I put it like this and hold, but you can just hold it like that and flow. But so you kind of keep the other strings quiet as you're doing it. It's an easy thing, but it makes a big difference. Sort of stuff, you keep the rest of the guitar a lot more quiet by changing that little thing around. So it's a nice little muting thing for playing around with your the legato stuff. Context, he takes the box and does the root with the first finger. What that gives you is the potential to basically have a Mixolydian sound, which is very bluesy, and to achieve some really cool bends. You can get some really expressive sort of tones like that. That I like to do with the whammy bar is kind of fun. A lot of times guys like to hold it in their hand and just you do it for the most subtle little nuancing stuff. You know, moving up a semitone here, down there. A little articulation, little vibratos with it. That was only just a couple positions and done with the bar. You know, for scooping notes, a more radical approach. I first heard that with Vi doing it, where he does a note, but instead of using the pick to attack it, you use the slack string. comes out of nowhere, right? So you got that sort of thing, scooping, I call that. The opposite of that is I put the bar backwards and you tap it and it gets a nice sort of a quick pitch up. Rising into fretted notes. For example, say I have a G, or B. So I might do something like this. You know, like, and then I can continue on. So if I'm like, right into the notes, they say scoop up to the beat. So that's kind of a fun thing. You're rising into fretted notes. 2 down, 1 up. Well, if I take one note and I hit it and I dive it down, and I take another note and I hit it and I dive it down, but I hit them both and dive them both down, a third note comes up from the center and rises up because the beat frequency is changing as these change. So it's kind of a neat. Comes up through, so you did the 2. It's kind of, who's got that extra sound in it, eh? It's like the vacuum cleaner sound. So that's, it's like an extra sound comes in there. So other things you can have fun with. So yeah, I do it with this hand. So you can have, you know, some fun with that.
just say